guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about Pocahontas. And the reason why I want to talk about Pocahontas is because I saw a video of somebody saying how Pocahontas 2 Journey to the New World is way better than Pocahontas and is more positive than the original Disney movie. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because somebody also said, in the video, was like, they hope that we'll get more indigenous, movies and shows or whatever. And I have to talk about this is because when I was growing up in the 90s, um, and of course, the early 2000s, there was a big uptake in Native American culture and, themes or whatever in school and shows or whatever, where we got to learn a lot about Native Americans and stuff like that. But as time done grow, going on, it's the same thing with black people. How they gotta constantly remind people like this is the terrible things that happen to Native Americans, stolen land, all that kind of stuff. Which is not stolen land; it's conquered land. Know y'all difference. I need y'all to understand. Like when somebody comes into another country, another land, and if they have a war for it, guess what happens? You kind of end up losing. Is conquered, not stolen. You know what I'm saying? Whether you were here first, second, third, or fourth, ask Europe how that worked out. Because I mean, have you seen half the wars they've done? I mean, the UK is a fucking island at best, and it was over there conquering all kinds of lands over in Europe. You just like, ain't this bitch an island? How the fuck this work? But I brought it up because I have to blame activism for the reason why we don't get enough indigenous Native American stuff anymore. Um, because the same thing is like the whole Black Lives Matter thing or whatever. You have turned it into something that turns a lot of people off. And I understand y'all gonna be like, oh, people need to be uncomfortable. No, actually, people don't always need to be uncomfortable. It's funny how we can accept Fox's Anastasia, right? But for some reason, everybody can't seem to accept Disney's Pocahontas. I don't know. When I was growing up, I already knew that Disney's Pocahontas was based on a real person, but I knew that wasn't the whole story. You know what I'm saying? I knew there were a lot of things that they just did to manipulate the movie, and I understand. I think Disney made a mistake by trying to make John Smith her lover. I don't really think they should have did that because of the fact that she's the only Disney princess who does have two love interests, but her real love interest happens in the second movie. But because people didn't really watch the second movie, most people don't know that Pocahontas actually ends up with John Rolfe, her actual husband, who in real life too. And the reason why I brought it up is because y'all have ruined the whole just getting people interested. Like you're shaming people for not telling the truth about Pocahontas, but people already know about Pocahontas' truth because, when we were in school, we learned about Pocahontas. And we were told, like, hey, Disney is just romanticizing it. It's a historical fairy tale. Okay, great. If you already know it's a historical fairy tale, bam, that's it. But it's constantly every day. People, a couple of months or a couple of years, here come weirdos who used to watch Pocahontas or whatever, and it's just like, come on, like, what are we doing? Okay, I thought you was about to park halfway. I was about to say, absolutely the fuck not. Absolutely the fuck not. No, you not. Okay. Every few years there's always people coming back bashing Disney's Pocahontas, talking about how historically inaccurate it was and how they romanticize things. Look, bitch. Look, bitches. What point of historical fairy tale don't y'all understand? Just like we already know Abraham Lincoln wasn't a vampire slayer. We already know Anastasia didn't have to deal with Rasputin and his magic, whatever the fuck that shit was in the movie. Like, stop it. Stop. I hate when y'all do this because the movies were made for children to just enjoy. You know what I'm saying? If anything, it should be honored because back when Pocahontas came out, and they did a whole bunch of stuff with Pocahontas and Native Americans, we started learning about different Native American culture in school and in movies and shows or whatever. Those American Girl dolls came out. They started doing like more Thanksgiving specials, start doing a little bit more little shows or whatever that teaches you about the Native American tribes. Then you know what I'm saying? Like you had Disney parks that literally had like indigenous Native American people in the parks during certain months or whatever. It wasn't just like a few days, it was like months where you get to go and they teach you about their culture, their history, and the inspirations for Pocahontas. The fact that Disney did work with Native Americans, different tribes, to make sure that they were being very respectful. Y'all act like they insulted the indigenous people, but y'all didn't even realize like how much work went into Pocahontas. And then now, because of y'all activism, Disney don't even really use Pocahontas. Pocahontas is in the animal kingdom. You get what I'm saying? She's in the fucking animal kingdom. And she barely has times where you can see her ass. She has been pushed out because a lot of you fucking weirdos are activist weirdos who got hurt feelings about what happened in the past. That shit happened before me, you, and everybody and their mama was thought about. And y'all still bitching and moaning. Shit that happened in 1837. You know what I'm saying? Not 1837. I don't know why I said 1837. I did not mean to say that. But what I'm saying is, we get it. Things happen. The past is terrible. Just like we already understand what happened to the real Anastasia. We understand what happened to the real Pocahontas. Stop trying to take what happened to those people and trying to put that on Disney's Pocahontas as if Disney's Pocahontas is responsible for holding that. They're not lying about Pocahontas. They never said that this was based on a true story. They said it was based on a historical figure. It is a historical fairy tale. An historical fairy tale. There's been plenty of historical fairy tale movies or historical fictional movies about historical figures where they do things. Now, the only time it gets crazy is when is the recent shit like what the like that Anne Boleyn bullshit that the UK been doing. Like when they've been doing a lot of UK storytelling about the kings and queens, and all of a sudden everybody is a different race or whatever. And they're trying to be historically accurate. Now that's where you should have a problem when they do that. When the queen is fucking black, her ladies in waiting is Asian, Latino, like be so for real. And we're in the UK. Stop it. Stop it, I say. Stop it, I say. You get what I'm saying? That's where it becomes a problem when you start trying to be serious about it, while trying to change things around. Disney wasn't being serious about like, oh, this is the actual true story of Pocahontas. No, this is just a historical fairy tale. They use because the reason why Disney did that is because I don't think a lot of y'all understand. When Pocahontas came to the UK under dubious things or whatever and stuff like that, of course her name was changed. I mean, her Christian name was given, which was Rebecca Rolfe, because she married John Rolfe. But a lot of y'all don't know that she was also cast as the first, crowned it as the first American princess. Because she came from North America, they crowned her as a princess, an American princess. So as much as people don't want, she technically has the title of princess. So since America really don't have any princesses because we don't have kings and queens, all that kind of shit, technically the reason why they used it is because she is the chief. She's the chief's daughter of the Poen tribe. Technically that makes her a princess. So when she comes to the UK, London, with the king and queen and meet them, she is granted the title of an American princess. That's why they use Pocahontas to tell a story, because of the fact that she was titled American princess, and they wanted to have an American princess. And who better to do it than Pocahontas, because of the fact that she was titled an American princess because she came from America at the time. You get what I'm saying? And then somebody like, oh, I hope they do more. No, they're not going to do more because they did another indigenous movie, Brother Bear, but they didn't put enough. They didn't put a lot of stuff into it because guess what? Activism. You know what I'm saying? You can't get mad. You can't demand people need to do this and that or with the Native American culture and people, and then expect them to put time and effort into the movies, the shows, or whatever. No, it doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to do that because you're not going to constantly try to remind or shame people for like, and that's another thing too. Y'all shame people for liking Disney's Pocahontas. You shame Disney for making Disney's Pocahontas. So why would they continue to try to do more indigenous things? You get what I'm saying? That's not how that works. And I understand some people are going to try to disagree or whatever, try to be like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. No, I do know what I'm talking about because all you got to do is just watch. You can see the downfall of the indigenous interest in America during the early 2000s because of the fact that you have activism who come back and was like, hey, all of this stuff you're romanticizing or whatever is wrong. Or when you go back and you find like Looney Tunes, you find like the original Peter Pan that kind of like had Native Americans in a light that y'all didn't like. Y'all want to be like, see, 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 see. You can't shame people for liking the stuff. It happened. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying what Disney did, what Looney Tunes or other people who depicted Native Americans was right, but at the same time, you have to think about what was the time, who was the time at the time. You get what I'm saying? But to put all of this hatred of the indigenous people or try to shame people into they need to do better with Pocahontas is the reason why you don't get enough Pocahontas, is the reason why Disney will never put no attempt to do another Native American themed anything hardly, because they already know that they get constant backlash because people like to read them. Yeah, of course it's about time the white company does something for the people that they stole the land from. Be so for real. Stop it. Stop it. And this is no disrespect to Native Americans at all, because I understand things did happen, but just like black people, you can either dwell in the past or you could create a better future. Because what's that old saying? There's no use of crying over spilled milk. You can't cry over the spilled milk. It already spilled. So what are you going to do? Are you going to continue to cry and talk about it? Or are you going to get a fresh glass of milk? I'm just being honest. So yes, so for the answer of why we don't see enough indigenous things in media hardly is because of that shaming people, shaming Disney for doing Pocahontas, shaming people who did like Pocahontas, um, having activism who shamed companies for even trying to do, have indigenous stuff going on in their companies or whatever, because it wasn't as authentic or because they romanticized certain things. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. You know what I'm saying? I feel like as long as they're not insulting the culture, then you get what I'm saying? Because I've looked at Pocahontas, Disney's Pocahontas, both movies. I don't think that they insulted the indigenous people. I don't think they insulted Native Americans at all. I think honestly, because of Pocahontas, we were able to learn a lot more. You know what I'm saying? Because it got people interested. When I was growing up, I mean, I know my knowledge of the indigenous people are not where it could have been, because when you're in school, yes, I did learn a lot about it, but after a while, when you're going through life, a lot of that stuff you kind of lose. You know what I'm saying? So forgive me for not being an expert at it and stuff like that. But it is kind of sad to see how activism shamed Pocahontas into the dark and shamed Native American interest into the dark. But those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.